Chapter: The Old Man at the Dolmen.
3 years ago, when I arrived in the North Caucasus, I wrote the first chapters about the dolmens, to which a continuous stream of people have now flooded. At the time, however, hardly anyone even looked in on these ancient ancestral sites. I alone often went to the dolmen located on the land of a farmer, Bambakov, in the village of Pshada in the Gelendzhik district. Each time, old man Bambakov would suddenly appear near the dolmen. He always seemed to appear unexpectedly, wearing a patched shirt and holding a tin of honey from his apiary. The old man was tall, lean, and very lively. He had acquired the land recently, at the beginning of Perestroika, and one got the impression that he had been in a great hurry to set everything up on it. He had erected a small house, an overhang for bees, and sheds made of various discarded material. He had begun to lay a garden and dig a small pond, believing that a spring would flow where he dug, but he had hit rock. Old man Bambakov was also very protective toward the dolmen. He swept around it, placed pebbles from the field next to it, and said,
"These stones have been brought here by people's hands. You see? They don't look like these around here. People made a barrow out of them and raised a dolmen on it."
The old man's farm was off to the side of the village and road. Usually he worked on it alone. I thought, does he realize how senseless his efforts are? He can't keep up a farm, cultivate the land, or build a normal modern house. But if there were a miracle and he were able to improve the surrounding territory and set up his farm, then he would scarcely have cause to rejoice. Everyone's children are rushing to the cities. Even the old man's son had set himself up in Moscow with a wife and became an official. Doesn't the old man realize how senseless his efforts are? No one needs them, not even his children. With what heart will he have to die, knowing that desolation awaits his farm, knowing that weeds will overtake everything and that his bees will swarm? The dolmen, standing awkwardly in the middle of his field, will once again be strewn with trash. Better he rest in his old age, but from morning to night he's always digging and building like a wind-up toy. One day I arrived at the dolmen when it was already getting dark. The moon lit the path leading to it. Silence all around, only the rustle of leaves in the breeze. I stopped a few steps away from the trees that grow around the dolmen. The old man was sitting on a stone next to the dolmen's portal. I immediately recognized his lean figure. Usually lively and cheerful, the old man was sitting perfectly still, and it seemed to me he was crying. Then he stood up and with his quick step paced back and forth by the dolmen's portal, stopping abruptly, turning to face the dolmen, and waving his arm affirmatively. I realized that old man Bambakov was communicating with the dolmen, talking to it. I turned and started toward the village, trying to tread as lightly as I could. On my way I thought, so how can a dolmen, its spirit, help this man who's living out his final days, no matter how strong and wise he is? How? Only with this kind of communication. Wisdom. Youth needs wisdom. What is old age going to do with it? Who needs it? Who is going to listen to wise speeches if even his children are who knows how far away? A year and a half later, on another visit to Gelendzhik, I headed once again for the dolmen that was on old man Bambakov's land. I already knew that Stanislav Bambakov had died, and I was a little sad that I wouldn't see this cheerful, purposeful person again. I wouldn't taste any more honey from his apiary. Mainly, I didn't feel like seeing trash near the dolmen and desolation around it. But the path leading from the highway to his land was swept clean. At the turn onto the path toward the dolmen, among the trees, there were wooden tables with benches near them, and a handsome gazebo. The path had been lined with neatly whitewashed stones and green cypress saplings. A light was burning in the windows of the little house, and next to it, on a pole, his son. Old man Bambakov's son, Sergei Stanislavovich. Bambakov, had left Moscow and his job and settled with his wife and son on his father's farm. Sergei and I sat at the table under the trees.
My father called me in Moscow and asked me to come. I came, I looked, and I brought my family. I worked here with my father too. The work with him brought me joy. When he died, I couldn't leave this place.
You don't regret moving from the capital?
No, I don't. And neither does my wife. I thank my father every day. We are a lot more comfortable here.
Have you put in conveniences, brought water into the house?
Yes, and my father had put the toilet in there by the house. I have another comfort in mind. Inside it feels more comfortable, more complete.
How is your work going?
There is plenty of work here. I have to start a garden and figure out the apiary. I still don't quite know how to deal with bees. It's too bad I didn't have time to pick up the skill from my father. People are visiting the Dolmen more and more. We greet buses every day, and my wife is happy to help. My father asked me to welcome people, and I do. I set up this stop and want to bring in water. But the taxes are killing me. Right now, I don't have the funds. It's also good that the administration chief helps out a little.
I told Sergei what Anastasia had said about the land, gardens, and parents' memory, and he replied,
You know, she's right. 100% right. My father died, and it's like I'm talking to him every day, sometimes arguing. He gets closer and closer to me, as if he hadn't died at all.
How's that? How can you talk to him? Like channelers? You hear his voice?
Well, no. It's all much simpler. See that trough? He was searching for water and hit the chalk rock. I wanted to fill up this trough and in its place put up one more table with benches. I thought to myself, what are you doing, father? Miscalculating? Now there's extra work, and so much to do anyway. Only the rain started. The water flowed downhill, and the trough filled with water and held, and the water stayed in the trough for months. A small pond form. I thought, wonderful, father. Your trough came in handy. There were a lot of other things he thought of, and I'm trying to understand them.
How did he tear you away from Moscow, Sergei? What words did he use?
He just told me everything. Ordinary words. All I remember is these new feelings appearing from his words, desires, and here I am. Thank you, father.
What words did old Bambakov learn communicating with the Dolmen? What wisdom did he learn so that he was able to bring his own son back and bring him back for good? It's too bad Bambakov was buried in the cemetery and not on his land, as Anastasia had said. I also admired and envied Sergei. His father had found or created a piece of homeland for him. Would I ever have this? Would others? It was good in Anastasia's glade and good at Bambakov's. It would be good for everyone to have his own piece of homeland.
End of chapter. Join us for the next segment of Co-Creation, Book 4 of the Ringing Cedar series, School or Lesson of the Gods. Part 1.